So in today's video we're gonna take a bit of a closer look at a trick. It's not really a trick, but it's something that if you pay a bit of attention to it at the beginning of your raid career, you can actually get some really strong iron powerful items for basically free. And it's honestly something that with my main account at the beginning I didn't really know, I didn't pay too much attention to, and I just took it as a bit of a side thing, and then later that made it much more difficult for me to get to that point. But if you have a new account, then there are a couple of tricks that you can actually employ very quickly, where when you know where to put the focus on, you can get some super powerful items, some really good sets, and I'm going to show you right now how exactly that works and what you should focus on. So in here we already have actually the first example. So we just had an arena tournament and I took first place in the arena tournament here and in my group, and as a reward what I'm actually getting here is I'm getting relentless items. And not only am I getting relentless items, I actually get very high quality relentless items, and it's not really a difficult tournament to win. As you can see here, I have 717 arena points and second place is sitting at 487. Now even if you don't making it into the number 1 slot, even the number 2 slot is not bad. You're getting, in this case, you get 5-star items and you get 4 epic items here, which can still be very good. But relentless items in general are sometimes tough to get when you're in a late game scenario, for the very simple reason that you're finding yourself in an environment where you have to compete against stronger and stronger opponents. The farther up your account goes, the stronger your account goes. In the beginning, there are a lot of tournaments where you can actually have a lot of success and easily grab some of these items up. So getting the relentless items early on is actually hitting pretty hard for multiple reasons, and we can talk about that in just a second. Because one of the things, global leaderboard is something that we're not going to be heading into, I can already guarantee you that much. But one of the things that is really strong at the beginning is that not only do you get with the relentless items, you're getting really nice items early on, but also you're starting right away with, for example, 5-star items. You might be able to get some 6-star items very soon too. And of course there is some RNG involved. When you're talking about the top row items, like your shield, your helmet and your weapon, things are a little bit easier, but then obviously as we're moving down to gloves, to chests and to boots, it really depends a bit on what you are getting as a main stat. So if you get 6-star epic items, those are actually also good candidates for rerolls later on, which you should definitely keep in mind. But in this case, for example, we get a weapon, and that weapon definitely has potential. I mean, we have crit rate, we have attack percent, and we have accuracy. It's not really the best item that you can immediately get, but this is something that is for a relentless set at the beginning of your journey actually quite nice already. And a second hit in crit rate makes this immediately good. Now, is this an item that I'm going to use on my late game account? Obviously not. It needed to be 6-star for that. But having some decent relentless items that can get you to 100% crit rate, that is actually quite powerful. And that can really help you early on with some of the champions that you're trying to equip. Because if you've been playing the entire time and you've been starting to also go through the dungeons, you probably realize too that it can sometimes be a little bit tricky to break through certain barriers and really equip yourself well with items. It's something that we're going to focus on in one of the next videos too. You really need to break through certain stages so that you get access to 6-star items, just as an example. And then of course there's a lot of farming involved there as well. So there's multiple approaches on how we can get our champions stronger at this point. But still, this is a really good source of items early on. Now, when we're talking about the helmet, not really all that great. We have 2 flat stats here with defense and resist, so it's not really perfect. If we would roll a lot into crit damage, that could become interesting. For now, not something that I would invest resources in, but I'll keep it up for later if I need to fill the gap somehow. Speed is always a great substat. In this case, we have accuracy, which we will need for most champions, but that flat hit point is also not too appealing, so unless we're getting multiple rolls into speed here, this isn't really worth it. It's always fine to roll an item to level 8 and see just what you get and what we're working with, and in this case we didn't even hit speed, so this is likely going to be something that I'm just going to sell. Highly unlikely that I'm going to invest more into this. Rolling it to 8, worth it, but besides that, we wanted the speed, we didn't get it. The hit into flat HP is kind of worth it in this case for me, so something that I'll ignore for now. But let's see, let's say for example I need to complete the set and to really make a hero work, one more item out of a relentless set might be something that I'm willing to entertain for a short period of time. The gloves, unfortunately, total bust. Again, we get attack, flat stat. We have attack. That is a little bit more interesting. Attack as a percentage stat, and then also crit damage at least. Still, we got 2 flat stats here with HP and with res. But another thing that we can upgrade to 8, see what we're getting. If we get at least 1 hit in damage, which of course didn't happen, then we might be able to use it. But this is one that I will keep at least for now. And then, boots, nice. We get speed. Like, this is a roll to 16, pretty much immediately. We now have attack percentage, we have crit rate, and we have accuracy as substats. All of those are good. All of those are things I can work with. Let's roll that to 12 right away. It doesn't even matter what we're hitting here. I would have loved a hit into crit rate. I didn't get it. The accuracy is definitely going to help me with a lot of champs, but I will definitely roll this even higher. The only reason why I'm not going to do it immediately is because I currently am only sitting at 650,000 silver. Might need that for something else, but the second that those boots go onto a champion, I can guarantee you that I'm going to try to roll that to 16. I would love for that to be a 6-star item, but again, a 5-star relentless item, speed with speed boots, that's already a win for me right there. Could have been better. Hits into crit rate would have been amazing, but we get at least 5% out of it. That will help to get a champion closer to 100%. The accuracy is also something that's quite useful, so that's definitely one of the better ones in that mix. As I said before, the gauntlets, they're not going to do anything for me. We can sell these one as well, so let's just get straight rid of it. Now, when we're talking about the tournaments, you always have to be a little bit selective. So, for example, an arena tournament is something that for most people I would really suggest that you are focusing on a bit. If you see that an arena tournament is coming up, what you can also do is save some of your arena tokens. Don't use them on the day. The daily rewards that you get, just pull them at the end of the day as late as you can. And that way you then have more arena tokens when you actually need to go for the tournament. There's also a little bit of a different trick. You probably already worked through this, and I touched upon it in one of the earlier videos. When you're playing Classic Arena, you obviously want to be on a high tier because it also gives you a lot more rewards. But let's say you're currently roughly in Silver 4, or maybe you're in Silver 3, and you're at the high end of that tier. What can really be worth it is to just set up a token defense that is easily defeated, not invest too many tokens on the 1 or 2 days before the tournament into your arena battles, and let yourself drop a little bit. It makes the opponents that you will encounter a lot easier to take down, and then it's much easier for you to get just the maximum out of all of the tokens that you have, and you can with that then get some easy wins. Because here for me, for example, it's starting to get a little bit tricky. There are a lot of compositions that have just more speed than me, and this is what happens. You get just completely beat in the speed battle. If I get one turn here, I win it, but because a lot of my champions are not really equipped yet to just focus speed in these fights, if you then have some speed champions against you, like in this case Apothecary, who speeds everybody else up on the opponent's team, that can very quickly go south and start to become a problem. So definitely something to really think about. We are in a later video going to focus a bit more on Arena, and I will tell you what exactly you can do in regards to, for example, speed builds. I already talked a bit about that. You also get some really nice rewards here for Arena. When we're talking about the daily rewards, for example, at the end of 30 days, you're getting High Cartoon, and she is a really strong champion. In a lot of cases can really help you, not only because she has an aura where you get an increased speed bonus, but she also has a couple of tools that can not only increase your own speed, but also slow the opponent down with the turn meters a bit. So she can be an asset in Arena if you didn't get anything better. But suffice it to say that the battles or the tournaments that we're getting for Arena in particular are quite good. And then you have also some dungeon tournaments, and there it's a little bit of a mixed bag. Now, it really depends on 2 things here. Number 1, how far progressed are you in the dungeon that is up for a tournament, and also what does that dungeon offer for you. Generally speaking, when we're talking about the dungeons, there are 3 dungeons that are worth going for in a tournament, assuming that you have a decent composition. That's the Spider's Den. For me right now, not really a dungeon where I can honestly do a whole lot. I'm lacking the champions. I haven't really put a lot of effort into this just yet. So I'm only completed stage 9 and I haven't farmed this at all. Amongst other things because in order to use those items that you get here, you obviously need to ascend your heroes, and you also want to get them to 60 so that they can take banners. I'm only there with Alice, so it's not really a dungeon that gives me a lot just yet, but it will become a big focus later on. Then we have the Fire Knight's Castle. That's another one that can get really interesting, but if you haven't pulled an Allure yet, there are some problems oftentimes with breaking through the shield. Turn meta manipulation is quite important here. I talked about Armiga as an option if you've been unlucky with your pulls. Now, I told all of you that you should be very patient by pulling champions when there is no ×2 event. The only ×2 event that has taken place so far since the account was started is the Sacred event, so I only pulled 2 Sacred Shards. Once that we have the event for Epic Shards, but also for the Ancients, then things might get a bit more interesting. So that's something to really watch out for, and then afterwards we're gonna see, okay, what happened, what options do we have, do I have to build Armiga? I actually have one that I'm slowly building up a little bit, while not putting too much of a focus on it, but he could be an asset in the Fire Knight Castle if I don't pull anything better for that point in time. Right now, I would not farm this for a tournament because it's just not enough. There's always this balance between what do you get back in items and how many points do you get for the tournament, and also which items do you currently need, how far you can go. Dragon Knight is a little bit different. So I'm currently struggling with pushing through stage 14, mainly because of most of the champions that I have focused on so far are Magic Affinity champions, so that makes it a little bit difficult to break through stage 14. But as my hero levels rise and as the items are getting a little bit better, this is going to be something that I can break through quite quickly. 15 should fall in the same moment, and then I can break through 16 and 17 and start farming this even more aggressively. But already now I'm at a point where farming stage 13 is pretty good because it gives me up to 6-star items. I have to be a little bit lucky to grab those, but this is a stage that is worth to actually farm. Now, I've optimized this a little bit. I still need to improve the champions. It's not 100% right now, but again, it's a work in progress. But right now, when we're talking about just farming and talking about tournaments, one of the tournaments that for me would be interesting is, for example, a dragon tournament. Let's say there is an event that gives you ×2 the chance to get speed items out of the Dragon's Dungeon, and in addition, I have also a tournament there. I would invest a lot of gems onto this. Gems generally are used to get you more energy, but if this all lines up with me being able to get all of my resources into the Dragons tournament here, and then also pulling some items in the process, that's an absolutely worthy cause. And as I said, try and focus on this a little bit. Figure out which tournaments make sense for you. If the tournament doesn't make sense, save your resources for a tournament that actually does, and then target the top spots. The extra relentless items that you get through it are absolutely worth it. You will very quickly also progress to a point where you're getting 6-star set items, and this is then just the holy grail. If you get a couple of speed boots there, if you get some really nice crit damage or crit rate gloves, for example, it can be insanely powerful for you. So make sure that you are starting to just gather your resources and strategically use them for tournaments like this when you can target a tournament, ideally with a ×2 on a speed set, on a savage set. And then, of course, in addition to that, you are aiming for those relentless items. And then just dump all of your gems there, get the extra energy, and try to get that. It really helps you to progress your account, and the extra items are going to be nice. Even if you don't get a ton of items out of it, just the silver alone is something that you will be able to use to upgrade. So here, again, it's always a bit of a close call, but this one also fairly successful one. Hopefully for the next event, I'm actually going to get a little bit more here even, and I'm going to be able to accumulate some more resources and break through this. But you get the idea. Use that as a bit of a trick. There's no easier time to win tournaments at the beginning of your raid career. Later on, when you have a high-end, late-game account, it's going to be much, much harder for you. So definitely keep your eye out for tournaments that make sense for you and start to play around them a little bit. Hope that you learned something today. Again, if you have any questions, make sure to post them into the comments. Always happy to help. And with that, we're also going to head into our next video in just a moment. But thanks for watching today, and I'm going to see everyone in the next one.